last 10 to 12 years. He has been a keynote speaker at IIM Ahmedabad and IIM Bangalore and was recently conferred with a doctorate degree in finance. Welcoming on the show, one of India's most successful, actually credited with being India's most successful investor, Vijay Kedia. Vijay, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Such a privilege to have you on the Track Invest show.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Now, one of your most favorite sayings is that, let me read this out, Rome wasn't built in a day, but Hiroshima and Nagasaki for sure were destroyed in a day. Tell us what the principle behind this is.
You see, actually this quote is for the newcomers in the market. So any newcomer, most of the newcomers, when they come to the market, they have this, you can say, dream of becoming crorepati overnight.
Absolutely.
So that's a very tricky thing, because they should understand that stock market is, they should treat stock market as a business. It is not a gambling then. For gambling, you should go to Goa, or to casino, to Macau, not to stock market. So it's a business. It takes a lot of time, it takes skill, it takes a lot of experience and patience to create wealth over a long-term period. So that is why I use this quote, ki Rome was not built in a day. Any business was not built in a day. Similarly, wealth in the stock market cannot be built in a day. It takes years. Now, another part is Hiroshima and Nagasaki were destroyed in a day. In order to become crorepati overnight, they are indulging into, maybe many of them indulging into trading. And here I'm trading, I'm talking about future trading. Which is really, future trading is injurious to your wealth. If you will find, you will see that success rate in trading is hardly 1%. So 99% people want to make money, take the pie from 1%. And in order to do that, and you know, trading has a peculiar habit. You start from 500 shares. When you make money, you increase your commitment to 1,000 shares, then 5,000 shares, then 50,000 shares. And one day, and that one day comes quite often in our market. We have seen every year, maybe once in a 2 years, the time comes when stock market crashes like anything, and we have to put circuit filter that now stock market cannot go down further. Market is closed for 15-20 minutes, half an hour. That is cooling off period, and again market opens. That one day really can spoil, can destroy your wealth you accumulated in last 5 years or 10 years or in 20 years. So for them, this is my message. Remember, Hiroshima and Nagasaki were destroyed in a day. And there is not only trading. It is same thing is applicable into, I call them bhangar caps. Out of these 6,000 shares, I always say that maybe more than 3,000, 4,000 shares are coming into the category of bhangar cap. They are traded when market is up, and there is no trace of liquidity when market is down. So people, even in this new investors, they have this habit of asking, tell me some छोटे price का shares. Tell me 5 रुपया का share, 10 रुपया का share, 15 रुपया का shares. So that is a bad habit, because in trading you have escape also, because that you may suppose if you get losses, you can quit the market, you can sell your positions, you can be out. But in those bhangar cap, once you have built up a long position, and when market moves down, you will, the 90% value will go away like this. Will be eroded. So that is why I use this quote. Remember this thing, save your money, protect your money, and don't try to become crorepati overnight. This is what.
So we're going to get all the formulas from you today on how to build that wealth. But Vijay, you've had a long career in the markets. You started very young. What actually drove you to start investing in the markets?
No, because I started because I had nothing to do in my life. I had no money to do any business. I was not very educated also. So that was out of compulsion, you can say. And that time when I started, trading was the only option, because trading did not need any capital, any knowledge. So it was just like throwing the dart. So I started in that fashion only. I was throwing the dart in the market. So, but one thing is there, when you have nothing and you come to the market, then your intuition helps you. Because your decision is not backed by your money. So whatever decision you are taking when you have nothing, it comes from your heart. Maybe. So something like this happened with me. So.
And there's no fear perhaps at that point.
Because you have nothing to lose. As it is, you have nothing to lose. Since you are not having anything to lose, so what can you lose?
So, you know, when was that point for you when you realized that, okay, you know what, I'm actually good at this, and maybe I should build on this as a proper business plan rather than just as a short-term kind of hobby?
No, actually it was very serious business for me. The trading was very serious business for me, because it was bread and butter for me. It was my livelihood also. But finally I realized that I'm making money in the market. But the example which I gave you, actually it is applicable to me also. I started with say 100 shares, then went up to 1 lakh shares, went up to 4 lakh shares to make quick money, and I lost all the money. So this must have happened many times in my life. So I remember I read in my in the school, there was a story about Muhammad Ghori, that he attacked India 16 times or something. So finally he won. Okay,
Right.
whatever. So that story was always playing in my mind. कि वो 16 बार करने के बाद भी उसमें हिम्मत नहीं आ रहा, तो चाहे वो नेगेटिव वे में हो इंडिया के लिए, तो you learn, you know. So I kept on trying to build my capital, trying to be successful into trading, but it did not happen. So I wasted a lot of years in understanding this thing, that this trading thing cannot make me rich. So I switched over going forward. After 10 or 12 years of my struggling to make money out of trading, actually, I realized that maybe the investment is a platform to build capital to create wealth. So I switched over to investing, but you can say my greed, or you can say my habit of trading, I couldn't overcome completely.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to ask you next.
Yeah.
And greed, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing?
So Michael Douglas told us decades back that greed is good. Okay.
He did.
Yeah. So I have also over the years I've realized that greed is of course good. Greed is very good.
It drives you a little bit, doesn't
It
it?
drives you
Especially
because without greed nothing can happen. But there are two kinds of greed.
Okay.
It's like cholesterol, good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. Same way I think greed is good also, greed is bad also. As long as you are treating the greed as a tool, it is a good thing. If it's become a character, become a habit, then it is bad. I will give you one example. Like for example, you buy a share for 100 rupees. Keeping a 5 years perspective, okay, in 5 years this 100 rupees stock should become 300 or 400 or whatever. You have something in your mind, going by the fundamentals which you have got to know. And maybe after 1 year the stock becomes 200 rupees. So that time you think, since you had intention to hold the shares for next 5 years, but maybe the greed comes to your mind, oh my god, my 100 has become 200. In spite of 2 years or 3 years, it has become 200 in 6 months or maybe in 1 year. You sell your shares. So that is a bad greed in my sense. Because there you should hold your shares, there you should not sell your shares.
Okay.
And the bad greed is what? Like suppose you bought the same shares at 100 rupees with some perception, with some knowledge, with some information or some of your idea. But ultimately that idea is not working out. Or maybe things have changed since you bought the shares. Some fundamental changes have taken place into the company. And the stock prices come down from 100 rupees to say 75 rupees. But that time you are not selling the shares because you are losing 25 rupees.
Right.
So that greed keeps you hold on to the shares in spite of your own perception says that now it is not worth holding. So that greed is bad into the market. So this is what my definition of greed.
Understood. A lot of youngsters also have this complaint these days that they say, you always talk about patience, but they feel that legendary investors like yourself manage to strike it big really quickly, and they say maybe they were lucky, they had all these opportunities in the market. Is that a misguided perception? Tell them the real story and how you had to kind of make your success as well.
No, I will say that luck certainly plays a role. Certainly plays a bigger role. That is why in one of my speech in IIM Bangalore, I had once said that do good karma, because that will certainly reward you. Because stock market is a game of mind. Okay, at one moment you feel that okay, I have to hold these shares in spite of profit. Second moment you can think that okay, now I don't want to hold market. It's only greed and fear as we usually use this word, greed and fear in the market. So I think luck certainly plays because it dominates your mind. So if you are I personally feel if you are a good person, so obviously you will have positive thoughts, you will have good doings in life. I don't know how to describe in detail, but this is what I feel. So coming to this, luck certainly plays a role because it's a fraction of the moment can change your life in decision. When you take your decision, you need just a fraction of the moment. So that is why luck is very important. And but whatever little bit successful I am today, that is for sure that I didn't get it cheap. I paid a lot of price for it. I spent a lot of my life, for this to understand this mechanism or nitty-gritty of stock market. And still we are learning every day. We are learning something new. So it's not quite an easy process. But you keep on doing it if you are passionate. This is for sure. If you are really passionate about something, then your luck helps you. Then God helps you or everything.
That's what,
Remember, वो शाहरुख खान डायलॉग बोलता है कि अगर किसी को भी अपने पूरे दिलो जान से चाहो तो पूरी कायनात तुम्हें उसको मिलाने में मदद करती है. So it is very much applicable into stock market. If you love from your heart, then वो कायनात will help you.
Bollywood fan there, Mr. Kedia.
Yes.
The other very big element is risk, right? And you mentioned how you need to have courage also to really put your money and put all your might into the stock market. Risk-reward ratio kitna hona chahiye? How do you judge it? How big a chance should you take on the stock market?
You see, stock market is a risky business. And it's a very risky business, if you ask me. But what is the definition of risk? Flying a plane is also risky.
Right.
Driving a car is also risky. Even getting marriage is also a risk. Okay. So everything in life is risk. You should know how to manage your risk. That is important. If risk-reward ratio in stock market is very high, so you should know how to mitigate your risk, how to control your risk. So if you can control that risk, then it is not a risky business. Because reward is also huge. So that is why courage is very important in the market.
Okay.
And there are two kinds of risk. Risk in the sense, like for example, if you are putting all your eggs in one basket, as it is, the speed of stock market is so high. It is something like you are driving a Bugatti. So, and if you are driving a Bugatti without a seat belt, then you are taking risk on risk.
Got it.
Because as the speed of that business is so high, then you should control. You should have some backup plan, right? So that is very important in the stock market. If you have a backup plan, if you control your risk, and if you don't get greedy, unnecessarily greedy, in bad greed, which I am talking, bad cholesterol greedy, if you don't become, then it is manageable. And of course, it is manageable.
So do you think that one needs to take big risks in order to get that big reward though? Would you say that? Would you say you need to have that conviction and just go all in? I mean, how does one know they're not being stupid?
No, there are two things I will tell you. I will give you an answer. Risk or patience. If you combine your patience with the risk, maybe then your risk to some extent could be controlled.
Right.
Like first of all, the risk starts from your thought.
Okay.
If you are not in a hurry to make money, then you are mitigating your risk. Remember this.
Okay.
You don't want to become crorepati overnight.
So first step.
That is the first step. So control your mind. It's a business. And I have to treat it as a business. In business, you cannot become crorepati in 1 year or 2 years. It takes time. So you are controlling your risk because the steps you are going to take or the investing decision which you are going to take will be controlled decisions.
Right.
Okay. Right. So that is one part of this risk.
Sure.
In spite of risk is what? Like suppose there are two ways of risk you can take. Like suppose you buy one, you have 100 rupees, you invest 100 rupees in one stock and taking a risk that the moment it becomes 200, I will sell. In spite of that, you can do this way also, that you, instead of putting 100 rupees which you have to invest in the market, put 20 rupees in one stock if you have a lot of, if you are convinced. And don't sell it when it becomes 20 rupees. Okay. Wait for long term. Okay. Keep your horizon little longer. That will also mitigate your risk. Okay. That will also give you a controlled, disciplined risk you are taking.
Okay. You know, there are a couple of investments or investment ideas which you're famous for, right? Like, tell us those stories, those early names that really kind of tilted the balance for you.
First, actually, hit was, you can say, Aegis Logistics, actually. So, first time when I bought Aegis Logistics, the market cap of that company was somewhere around, I think, 20 crore. And I bought 5% of this. Started from 20 crore and I bought 60 crore of market cap. So, but the shares did not move at all. Okay, and it was lying like that. And I approached many of my friends from the market and I tried to sell the story to everybody. You look at this company, I have found out it's a very good company, good management, making profit every quarterly, profit is increasing, paying good dividend. Dividend yield was also 4-5% or something. So, but nobody was convinced. They liked, oh, good idea, but nobody actually bought their shares. So I was really disappointed because that 5%, 8 lakh shares I remember I had bought that time. So maybe I had put 3 crores of rupees. So that was a big sum.
Oh my God, yeah.
So I thought maybe now I have gone. So, but actually maybe, but after 1 year, 1.5 years, people realized underlying your story in that company. And although I sold my shares at around 500 rupees, between 400 to 500 rupees. So that was a market cap of 800 crore that time. But today, but today market cap is more than 5,000 crores. So this is what you should learn in the market, that you have faith on yourself. If you have identified something and if you think that things are going to work, don't bother whether market is responding or not, because sooner or later market will respond. When market will respond, then market will reward you handsomely. So for that you need to have courage to buy 5% of the company. Same way, just give you an example. You need to have knowledge little bit to identify a company, and you need to have patience to hold that stock did not move at all for 1.5 years, and all big wigs are actually not discouraging you. I remember I met one of my friend who was dealing with this company, dealing directly, business dealing he had with this company. He told me, my God, this is nothing. This is like a dabba and dhakkan. This is what he told. I remember his word because they are into logistics and all. They tell me, dabba dhakkan hai, wo kya hai company? So I thought, my God, now to my career is over in stock market. But finally, that was a really money spinner for me.
Nice. So the other stock that you're really bullish on at the moment, I think, is Karnataka Bank. So we've talked a lot about it as well. Banking, of course, everyone's been watching very closely to see how it comes out of the kind of troubled phase and just waiting for it to take off. You know, tell us the kind of expectation you have on that or any of the other stocks you're looking at right now.
No, Karnataka Bank we can discuss. I will give you one example. Banking sector, like everybody of this opinion in the market now that banking is coming out of the wood. Okay, the NPA cycle, worst cycle is over behind us. And there are 3 kinds of bank. One is private sector bank, which are larger bank like Yes Bank, IndusInd Bank, HDFC Bank, and Axis Bank, and whatever all this. These are supposed to be most efficient banks. They are having a net interest margin of above 3%, 3.5 or 4%, and their NPA is below 1%. Axis Bank is in trouble for the time being, but other banks, and they are having a price to book of around 4 or 5.
Right.
Like for example, if their book value is 100 rupees, their stock is quoting at 400 or 500 rupees, their price to book value. Then there are another category of bank is like this smaller bank from private sector like CUB, City Union Bank, DCB Bank, Federal Bank, Lakshmi Vilas, and Karnataka Bank.
Right.
So they are actually, their net interest margin is within the range of 3, minus 3, or some have little bit 3 plus, and their NPA is also 1 plus.
Okay.
And they are available at a price to book of 1 or 2. Now all these banks are changing their face.
Okay.
All this scenario in these banks are changing. And third category is this public sector bank. So let us not discuss that, because we know the story what is happening there. But they are also going to do well, because now government wants them to revive.
Exactly.
Okay. Government wants to revive them. Now the thing is, this coming to the second category of bank where I invested into Karnataka Bank. So when I bought the shares, it was at 0.7 book. Okay. Now all this scenario on these smaller banks are changing.
Right.
All the professional managements are coming into the bank. They are taking over the management, and they are trying to revive. So, and same thing is happening with Karnataka Bank, and the management is also expecting to double its business by 2020.
Okay.
So I expect when they double their business, their net interest margin will cross 3 or 3.5,
Okay.
and NPA will come down below 1%. So they should also have a valuation of at least 2 or 2.5. So I expect maybe going forward in 3-4 years they double the business, and their price to book becomes double from present. So it could give me a 3-4 times return. This is what I'm expecting.
Okay, awesome. So obviously, if you have that conviction, perhaps that's a stock that you want to look at.
Yeah, and I'm holding the share. That is a disclosure. I have vested interest in this.
Yes. So how does one build the knowledge though? You know, today youngsters still have more options out there by which to go, learn, etc. Mr. Kedia, what would you recommend? How should they build these skills? And you know, you've spoken a lot about patience being a key virtue. You know, spoken about courage. You know, what are some of the other things they should try and inculcate?
No, I think people should start reading.
Okay.
Because you cannot make, it's not a magic wand that you can make money like this. So if you really want stock market to as a career, then you have to follow the process. So knowledge is very important. So reading is very important. I tell everybody who are interested into the market, first go and do the courses conducted by NSE and PSE. That is the first thing you should do, at least to give it respect.
Absolutely.
Start from alphabet. Okay. So, and I advise everybody, all my friends and who were asking me, let's start reading a broker's report. So I would like to share on this platform also, because try to read whatever broker's reports are available, and there are thousands of broker reports available. Not necessarily the broker's report which came yesterday you have to read. You read 6 months back also any broker's report written by analyst reports written by them, and that is available free. Okay, and try to understand how they have analyzed the company. Don't go for the price projection or shares will go down or go up or go. That is not your way of. That is you don't have to learn. Understand their way of analyzing things. So if you read 500 reports, I'm sure I can tell you that you will become at least a good quality of analyst that you will become. And you should read all business newspapers, business magazines, TV interviews of all the, just imagine at 400 rupees you are paying to a cable, and in 400 rupees you are watching so many business TV channels, and Deepak Parekh is coming on TV and sharing his knowledge, or Mahindra Rajiv Bajaj is coming and sharing his knowledge.
True.
So many analyst fund managers are coming and giving you their knowledge free of cost. You should take advantage of that. That is the rule.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You've sort of had a career outside of stock markets as well, and you've always said how that's very important. So I think the other question then is that how much of their savings or how much time should a young investor dedicate to the stock market? Because thoda sa to time lagana padega if they want to learn and they want to build it. But how do they balance that?
You see, मेरे को क्या लगता है, it's very important. I have experienced this in my life. As long as I was dependent on my investment to support my family, my growth was limited. So I think it works like a gravity.
Right.
When every time you have this thought in your mind that end of the day you need some money at home, or maybe end of the month you need money at home. So you cannot remain in a stock for a longer time, because when you need money you have to sell.
Right.
So that gravity will pull you. So it is very important to come out to that no gravity zone to make big wealth. This is what I feel. So for that, if you have either somebody supporting you, maybe you are living with your parents or with your husband or whatever, or you have some other line of business, or either you are doing some job, you have some shop, or you have some industry or whatever it is. then life is little easier for you.
Okay.
Because the idea is to remain invested for long term. The idea is to how you have to create an environment or your system which does not allow you to sell your shares for need of money.
And that I think is the biggest takeaway.
Yes, this is what I feel.
Yeah.
So the moment you come out from that zone, then that money should not matter to you.
Okay.
Then second thing is applicable. The second thing comes to the in this process is that you shouldn't worry about that. Money should not give you. You should not bother about that money. कि वो पैसा मेरा है नहीं वो पैसा. And one more thing that I usually tell everybody that always remember your investment belongs to the market. Your profit belongs to you.
True.
So when you will have this thought in your mind. Okay, the investment doesn't belong to me. Whether it is rising or it is falling, it doesn't matter. It does not belong to me. So you don't make merry also when your stock is rising because you haven't sold your shares. So when you have all these things in your mind as a discipline, so then I think it is little easier. And as it is, investment. Let me tell you, making money in stock market is actually simple, but it's not easy. It is tough. It is difficult.
But so it's a discipline. Like
discipline is important.
Like you said. Yeah.
Yes.
But you know that sinking feeling, Mr. Kedia, when you've just put all your money in the market. You may be a new investor and 2 months later, it just so happens that the markets see a slide, or you even could be a new investor to the market, an adult, and you put it in mutual funds and suddenly you're like, 1 महीने में मेरा 10% कम हो गया. Savings में ही रहने देने चाहिए थे पैसे. How do you at that point convince yourself that it's a good investment idea?
No, if you are having that thought when market falls, that means you are not reading history. If you are reading the history, you are not understanding what is written in the history. You see the chart of 30, 40 years or 20, 30 years. From 1970, 80 or whatever, you see that steeper the fall in the market, greater had been the rise. So this is what message it is giving to us. The message is very clear that volatility or the downside or the bear market is your best friend in the world. Bear market is a friend in need. Okay. Indeed, this is what they say. So when you will see that thing in the chart or in the history, then you will this bear market or downside things will not actually disturb you. So which is very important. And so far coming to savings into other asset class, then there is a data that in I think in 70, if you had invested 100 rupees in 1970 in gold, so that money is 2,500 rupees today, and same 100 rupees in FD is 3,000 rupees somewhere around. If 100 rupees was invested into stock market, then it is 30,000 rupees today. So
that's a big difference.
Yeah. But the idea was to remain invested. When you buy gold, you don't see the price on a daily basis. When you buy stock, every minute you want to know the price. So you have to change your mindset. So then this will happen.
आप पहले greed की बात कर रहे थे, है ना? Give me another example of greed and how it could go wrong or right.
Yeah, okay. I remember one story. I bought one company, TRF, Tata Robbins Fraser, and I don't remember, but somewhere in 2002 or 3 or 2001 or 2, I bought at 40 rupees. And then again in 2003 or 4, I bought again at 250 rupees. Okay. And I held the shares till 2006. In 2006 or 7, somewhere before the market crashed, before that, stock went up to 2,400 rupees. Just imagine from an initial investment of 40 rupees to 2,200 rupees. So around what, 500 times? Whatever. 50 times, whatever. Okay, it was.
Like it went up exponentially.
Exponentially, of course. So if I was not greedy, then I would have sold my shares maybe at 200 or 300 or 400 or 500, maybe 1,000. But I held till 2,000.
So you hung in there.
So that was greed, you can say, or hunger, whatever you say. Okay. And I bought 1% of that company, of Tata company. So that was also a big amount. From there, stock fell down to 1,100. Okay.
And then you must have regretted it.
And suddenly. So that was really a nightmare for me.
In a day, in a day or two.
Half the wealth is gone. Okay, maybe in 2 months' time or something. I don't remember the time frame. But
so were you watching it every day at that time?
Of course, I was. Even in dream also I was watching it. What is going to happen? What tomorrow's stock is going to open at what price? Because a lot of money, know. So, but finally, I started selling my shares at 1,100 rupees. So that is the reverse greed which I told you. The greed is good also, greed is bad also.
Got it.
But just you imagine that you build a capital, say in 10 years or say in 5-6 years, and it is destroyed in maybe in 2 months' time. So what are you going to do? So I took a decision. I understood what has happened in the company, what has happened in the Indian market, what has happened to this bull market. That was 2007-8 time. I sold my shares, started selling my shares from 1,100 rupees to till 800 rupees. And I completely exited from the stock. After that, stock went down to 100 rupees. So I think this could be a proper example of being greedy and where to become greedy, where not to become needy.
That worked out well.
So this is what Yeah, it happens.
So does that mean you also, I mean, does that apply also to having a stop loss? Do you also need to know at what point to sell your stock?
No. I don't think a stop loss works in fundamental. In investment, in my view, investment stop loss doesn't work.
Okay.
Stop loss means what? When it went up from 240 rupees or 40 rupees to 2,200 rupees, it did not go in one go, no? It must have gone into zigzag position. So if I had put my stop loss at 400 rupees, कि 350 के नीचे जाएगा तो बेच दूंगा, तो वो तो बिक गया होता मेरा. तो मेरा stop loss तो hit हो गया होता. So in fundamental, I don't think you need to have a stop loss.
Okay.
In trading, stop loss is a must. Okay. Very must. Before doing anything, any trading, you should put your stop loss. But I will give you one example. There is a confusion about the mechanism of stop loss. Now, which people I think need to understand what is stop loss. A stop loss is not just a random that, like, suppose what I mean to say is this, like Tata Iron, Tata Steel and Tata Motors. Both are into F&O, for example. Both are, Tata Steel is say 400 rupees and Tata Motor could be 450 or 500 rupees. If you think that you are going to take a position in this in both the stocks and you are keeping a random stop loss, कि भाई ले लो 10 रुपया नीचे मेरा stop loss, then you are playing actually flush. Okay, you are playing about 3 पत्ती जिसको आप बोलते हैं. That is not a way of आप अपने आप को convince कर रहे हो. You are thinking that you are very safe, you are disciplined, and you have put a stop loss before indulging into any kind of trading. But there is a rule, and what I have understood, in my view, rule is what, that stop loss in Tata Steel would be different than stop loss in Tata Motors. It depends on the volatility of the particular stock. Okay. If Tata Steel is moving into a range of 20 rupees, then your stop loss should be 20 rupees. In Tata Steel. Okay. Whereas if you see that Tata Motor is moving in a range of 40 rupees, then your stop loss for Tata Motor would be 40 rupees. You know, then if you just put a random stop loss, that is going to work against you. So this is very important to understand about stop loss.
So Kedia, I can sense the passion, you know, that you have for and still hold for the stock markets, you know, even after all these years. आप शेरो शायरी भी करते हैं, you know, and you often apply it to the stock markets. So हमारे लिए भी कुछ, you know, सुनाइएगा.
शेरो शायरी में मैं आपको एक बात बताता हूँ कि ऑफ कोर्स मैं प्राय सबको बोलता हूँ कि स्टॉक मार्केट इज माय फर्स्ट लव. सो वंस आई वाज गिविंग अ स्पीच समवेयर, माय वाइफ वाज आल्सो देयर. सो आई सेड कि स्टॉक मार्केट इज माय फर्स्ट लव. देन माय वाइफ स्टार्टेड लुकिंग एट मी. तो मैंने बाद में बोला कि बट यू आर माय लास्ट लव, बिकॉज व्हेन आई मेट यू आफ्टर दैट आई डिड नॉट लव एनीबॉडी. सो शी वाज हैप्पी टू हियर दैट. एनीवे, सो आपने एक बात मेरे को पूछा ना कि लोगों को ज्ञान कैसे मिलेगा, हाउ टू लोगों को कहाँ से उनको नॉलेज, उनको इन्फॉर्मेशन और कहाँ से मिलता है. तो उस पर मेरे को एक गाना मेरे को याद आता है, एक पुरानी पिक्चर गाना है कि पंछी नदियाँ पवन के झोंके, कोई शहर ना इन्हें रोके. तो वहाँ पर यू हैव टू ऐड वन मोर वर्ड कि पंछी नदियाँ पवन के झोंके एंड इन्फॉर्मेशन एंड नॉलेज एंड इन्फॉर्मेशन. इनको नो, देयर इज नो बॉर्डर फॉर दिस थिंग्स. यू कैन लर्न online, you can learn, everything is free, you can learn wherever you are sitting.
Absolutely, and today the world has changed, so you can equip yourself and you can kind of move ahead a lot faster.
Yes,
you know,
and that is also very important in market. That you shouldn't leave learning, you shouldn't give up learning if you think that you have become a master, because it is not necessary. अगर कोई एक आदमी डॉक्टर अगर बनता है, so just not that he has completed MBBS and he becomes a doctor, that does not mean that he gives up learning. उसके बाद भी उसको लर्न करना जरूरी है. व्हाट इज न्यू इन हैपनिंग, तभी वो कॉन्फ्रेंस अटेंड करता होगा, पेपर्स पढ़ता होगा, जर्नल. तो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू कीप योरसेल्फ अपडेटेड.
सर, आज आप हमारे साथ बैठे हैं तो पूछना तो पड़ेगा, और कौन से स्टॉक आइडियाज है, कहाँ हम अपने पैसे लगाएं.
स्टॉक के बारे में ऐसा है कि मैं आपको बताऊं कि स्टॉक, मैं कोई भी स्टॉक अगर लेता हूं तो अगर वो चूंकि 1% से ज़्यादा रहता है तो पब्लिक डोमेन में आ भी जाता है, तो सबको मालूम भी है कि मैं क्या लेता हूं और क्या नहीं ले रहा हूं. लेकिन अगर आज मैं कोई स्टॉक आपको बता देता हूं और मे बी आई मे चेंज माई माइंड आफ्टर 3 months, देन वी विल नॉट बी अगेन डिस्कसिंग दम. तो लोग उसको लेकर फिर बोलेंगे अरे मैं तो बेच दिया और वो लेकर रह गया. तो इस बोलकर मैं आपको ये बताता हूँ कि मेरे को ऐसे लग रहा है कि जो बैंकिंग जो सेक्टर है ये इंडिया में इसका नया बूम चालू हो गया. मेरे को ऐसे लगता है कि चाहे वो कर्नाटका बैंक की मैं रिकमेंडेशन नहीं कर रहा हूँ, चाहे कोई भी बैंक आप जो आपको समझ में आता आप लीजिए. उसमें स्मॉलर बैंक जो भी हो, चाहे वो लक्ष्मी विलास बैंक है, वो भी फेडरल बैंक है, ये भी अच्छी बैंक्स हैं. इनमें किसी शेयर्स को आप चुन सकते हैं, लेकिन आप अपने एडवाइज़र को जरूर पूछना, क्योंकि मैं प्रोफेशनल एडवाइज़र नहीं हूँ. मैं वो कर रहा हूँ जो वो बता रहा हूँ, जो मैं अपने लिए कर रहा हूँ. तो मैंने कर्नाटक बैंक लिया, लेकिन आप ये बैंकों को भी ले सकते हैं, क्योंकि मेरे को लग रहा है इनका फ्यूचर ब्राइट है. और हाउसिंग फाइनेंस सेक्टर जो है ये भी बूम करने वाला है. इंडिया में ऐसी डिमांड निकलने वाली है, और इंडिया का नेक्स्ट बुल मार्केट जो आने वाला है या जो चालू है ऑलरेडी, ये इसी के सेंट्रलाइज, इसी के इसमें धुरी पे रहने वाला है. बैंकिंग और फाइनेंस सेक्टर और हाउसिंग फाइनेंस सेक्टर, उसमें से जो आपको, जैसे मैं कई वेरियस प्लेटफॉर्म पे LIC मैंने पहले रिकमेंड किया था, अभी थोड़ा वो बढ़ा है. मेरे को सेफ शेयर्स लगता है, मैं इसलिए LIC कहता हूँ कि वो सेफ है. वो शेयर्स गवर्नमेंट की कंपनी है और एक अच्छा मैनेजमेंट है, तो मेरे को ऐसे सेफ शेयर्स भी आपको बड़ा रिटर्न दे सकते हैं. जो आज आपको सेफ लगते हैं, ऐसा नहीं समझने कि वो आपको ज़्यादा रिटर्न नहीं देंगे, वो भी आपको ज़िंदगी में बहुत बड़ा रिटर्न, अगर आप लंबा उसको रखते हैं. उस सेक्टर में ग्रोथ बहुत जरूरी है. आप कोई भी ऐसा सेक्टर चुनिए जिस सेक्टर में ग्रोथ होने वाली हो, उसकी कोई भी अगर अच्छी कंपनी को अगर आप पकड़ लेंगे तो बड़ा सिंपल आपको पैसा देकर जाने वाला है। उसमें ये मत सोचो कि छोटे दाम का शेयर्स लूँ या कोई मैं जो अननोन कंपनी का जो शेयर्स है उसको मैं ले लूँ कि मासा ने बोला है या भैया ने बोला है या साले ने बोला है, वो काम शेयर बाजार में मत करना। क्योंकि आप अगर बाजार में एक मोबाइल भी खरीदने जाते हो तो भी आप पूरा उसका रिसर्च करते हो, ऑनलाइन देखते हो, लोगों से पूछते हो परफॉर्मेंस क्या है, बैटरी क्या है, और शेयर्स लेने के लिए भैया ने बोले आप शेयर्स ले लेते हो। वो छोड़ के उसको सीरियस बिजनेस समझो, तो मार्केट विल रिवॉर्ड यू एज पर योर परसेप्शन। आप उसको जितना रिस्पेक्ट दोगे मार्केट भी आपको उतना रिस्पेक्ट देगा।
और मार्केट अभी तो कहीं क्रैश नहीं होने वाला ना कि
नहीं, आप अगर शेयर बाजार में अगर आप अभी तक घुसे हुए नहीं है, इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं किया है, आप मनाइए कि मार्केट क्रैश हो, आप ताकि आप उस मार्केट में घुसे हैं आप। क्योंकि ये सबसे बड़ा वही है कि आप हिस्ट्री में सबसे पहले यही सीखिए कि स्टीपर द फॉल ग्रेटर द राइज। तो अगर यू आर नॉट इन्वेस्टेड सो फार देन यू प्रे दैट मार्केट विल फॉल एंड यू एंटर द मार्केट। तो दैट इज, और अगर आप इन्वेस्टमेंट कर चुके हैं ऑलरेडी, तब आपको वॉलेटिलिटी इज योर फ्रेंड। आपको भी वही फॉर्मूला याद रखने का है कि जितना गिरेगा उतनी तेजी से वो वापस ऊपर जाने वाला है। हिस्ट्री ने ये बताया, तो वो उसकी चिंता नहीं करनी है। मार्केट गिरेगा इस बारे में अपनी जिंदगी खराब मत कीजिए। आज 90% टाइम जो है, जो हम लोग इसी बात में लगा देते हैं कि मार्केट का डायरेक्शन क्या है, मार्केट तेज होगा या मंदा होगा, ऊपर है, कोई भी मिलता है रास्ते में, पार्टी में या कहीं भी, अरे मार्केट क्या लगता है। अरे छोड़ बाबा, मार्केट क्या लगता है, मार्केट क्या लगता है वो इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट को सोचने दीजिए। इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट अपनी कंपनी को एक्सपेंड नहीं कर रहा है शेयर बाजार के बुल और बेयर मार्केट को देख के, और आपका किसी शेयर्स में आप पैसा लगा रहे हो तो इंडस्ट्री का फॉर्चून देखकर आप पैसा लगा रहे हो। तो आप बजाय इसमें अपना टाइम वेस्ट कर रहे हो कि मार्केट तेज है या मंदा है, आप नया आइडिया सोचिए कि आगे इंडिया में ऐसा होने वाला है, आगे कौन सी नई टेक्नोलॉजी आ रही है, कौन सा नया इनोवेशन आ रहा है, वो कौन सी कंपनी को इफेक्ट करेगा, मैं कौन सी कंपनी के शेयर्स लूं इसके कारण, इसमें अपना टाइम लगाओ बजाय वो सोचने के लिए।
समझ गई। and आप you gave a lot of examples that run it like a business, so
yes,
so in that management is very important.
Yes,
so how do you give us just another example of how you feel that you can do good management? What would you call good management?
देखिए, मैं इसके पहले आपको एक बात बता देता हूँ। ये एग्जांपल मैंने मेरे एक फ्रेंड को दिया कि लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल क्या आता है, जो ये हाईवे है, तो हाईवे इज लाइक ए ग्रोथ, कि अगर कंट्री में ग्रोथ है और इकोनॉमी में ग्रोथ है तो वो हाईवे है, वो एक रोड है हाईवे वाली। और जो कंपनी जो है वो लाइक ए कार, आइदर इट इज अ मर्सिडीज और इट इज ऑल्टो, व्हाटएवर इट इज। और वो जो मैनेजमेंट है इज लाइक ए ड्राइव, और आप जो है आप वो पैसेंजर हैं इसके अंदर में। आप कब जाएंगे, कब गाड़ी में चढ़ेंगे, कब उतरेंगे, आपको भी नहीं पता। आपको अभी इन सबका अलाइनमेंट होना चाहिए। अगर हाईवे अच्छा है, अगर ग्रोथ अच्छी है, और अगर मैनेजमेंट अगर बढ़िया है, तो गाड़ी अगर आपका मर्सिडीज जरूरी नहीं है कि आपकी बुगाटी अगर हो, अगर आपकी ऑल्टो भी होगी तो वो हाईवे पर उस गाड़ी को ठीक लेकर जाने वाला है। कोई बहुत लंबा चौड़ा फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला है। हो सकता है वो 200 में जाएगी, और होंडा में अगर गए तो होंडा 120 में जाएगी, वो 220 में जाएगी। ये फर्क पड़ सकता है आपको, लेकिन अल्टीमेटली आप सेफ पहुंचोगे, विच इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। लेकिन अगर समझिए ड्राइवर खराब है, और आप अगर रोल्स रॉयस भी अगर चला रहे हो और हाईवे भी अच्छा है और गाड़ी भी अच्छी है, लेकिन ड्राइवर नौसिखिया या ड्राइवर खराब है, आपकी गाड़ी का क्या हालत होगा और पैसेंजर का क्या हालत होगा, ये आप खुद समझ सकते हैं। तो मैनेजमेंट का कितना इंपॉर्टेंट रोल है, आप इस बात से ये समझ लीजिए। और मैनेजमेंट को कैसे, हाउ टू जज दैट इज मैनेजमेंट, इट्स अ गुड मैनेजमेंट और बैड मैनेजमेंट। According to me, it's a very simple thing. You see the past performance of the management. How the management has performed when the time for the industry, time for his company, and time for Indian economy was bad. During that scenario, how did he run the company? How did he manage the company? तो जो खराब टाइम में अपनी कंपनी को अच्छी तरह निकाल के लेकर जाएगा, वो अच्छी टाइम में और दुगनी रफ्तार से जाएगा। तो ये सिंपल ये है कि मैनेजमेंट का पास्ट रिकॉर्ड देखिए और फ्यूचर के प्रोजेक्शन देखिए कि आगे का उसका प्लानिंग क्या है। अगर इफ ही हैज फायर इन द बेली, देन यू शुड इन्वेस्ट इन द शेयर्स। उसको लगता है कि नहीं बहुत हो गया, अभी तो क्या मजा करने का लाइफ में, उसके पहले आप शेयर बेच के मजा कीजिए।
All right, Mr. Kedia, thank you so much for coming and joining us on the Track Invest Show. Thank you.